Mindset isn't just a concept, it's a system of patterns in your thoughts, in your body, in your environment, and your habits. The good news, all of those patterns can be changed, but not by accident. They change through awareness, intention, repetition, emotion, and action. That's the formula. That's the roadmap. Welcome to the Personal Mastery and Growth Podcast, where we explore the keys to unlocking your full potential and living your best life. I'm your host, Jose Johnson. Whether you're looking to make a breakthrough, overcome a challenge, or simply live with greater clarity, joy, and purpose, you'll find the tools and inspirations you need right here. So let's start your journey towards personal mastery and growth right now. Welcome back to the Personal Mastery and Growth Podcast, your go-to resource for practical tips, insightful research, and inspiring stories to help you unlock your full potential. I'm your host, Jose Johnson, and I'm an expert in the fields of mindfulness, mindset, and peak performance. And I am so excited to have you here with me today. In today's episode, we're talking about something that sits at the heart of personal transformation. How do you actually change your mindset at the level of the brain, the body, and your beliefs? Look, we hear phrases like change your mindset, change your life. We hear that all the time, right? But what does that really mean? And more importantly, how do you actually do it? So today, we're going to break that down. We'll explore what science says about how mindsets are formed, how they're wired into your brain and your nervous system, and the specific techniques that can help you start rewriting the mental scripts that keep you stuck. So let's get to it. So let's start with some good news. Your brain is not fixed. Thanks to the science of neuroplasticity, we now know that the brain is constantly rewiring itself in response to experience, attention, and behavior. This means that your thoughts and your beliefs aren't set in stone. They're patterns. And like any pattern, they can be disrupted, replaced, and reinforced in new ways. So here's how it works. Neurons communicate through electrical impulses. And the more frequently a particular pathway is used, like a recurring thought or emotional reaction, the stronger that connection becomes. Now, these neural highways become your default setting, what you notice, how you respond, and what you believe is possible. So when we talk about rewiring your mindset, we're talking about shifting those well-worn pathways and building new ones. And that doesn't happen through positive thinking alone. It takes intentional repetition, emotional engagement, and aligned action. So let's go a little bit deeper. Changing your mindset isn't just about what you think. It's about the habits of thought that you practice. Stanford psychologist Dr. B.J. Fogg talks about the importance of tiny habits. These are small actions that, when repeated constantly, snowball into transformation. Now, the same principle applies to your mindset. While it is possible to achieve rapid change, for the most part, creating significant and lasting change is the result of small shifts done regularly and intentionally. But the glue that holds it all together can be found in your emotions. The stronger the emotion related to the desired change of action, the more things stick. And those emotions can be uplifting ones like love or negative emotions like disgust. So if you're going to create a new mental habit, you need to remember this equation. Repetition plus emotion plus intention equals rewiring. Now, it's also important to understand that our mental habits create a loop, a repetitive pattern that reinforces itself. Now, this loop is composed of three key ingredients: a cue, a routine response, and some type of reward or payoff. So let's say you have a mental habit loop that's related to a lack of confidence. Now, that loop might look like this. First, you make a mistake. Well, that's the cue that activates your old belief. And number two, this triggers your routine response, which might be the habitual thought, I always mess things up. And that leads us to three, the reward, the short-term relief of familiar thinking, even if it's negative. To break the loop, you don't just fight the old thought. you install a new one with a new routine and a new reward. All right, so here's the example. Your cue is you made a mistake. The new routine that you want to install is that mistakes are feedback. I'm still learning. And your reward? Well, that becomes self-compassion and a sense of progress. So each time you catch the loop and rewrite it, you strengthen the new pathway and weaken the old one. Now, here's where this gets even more powerful. These habit loops don't just exist in isolation. They stack and reinforce one another. If your default thoughts, I'm not good enough, your brain will constantly scan for evidence that supports that script. The more often the loop runs, the deeper it gets etched into your neurology. But just as we learned in segment 1, neuroplasticity means the brain is always adapting. So the more often you practice interrupting these loops with a conscious, empowered response, the faster you rewire those circuits. Now, it's also important to understand that the emotional charge behind a thought amplifies its effect. When a belief is wrapped in fear, shame, or anger, it gets encoded more deeply. That's why it's crucial to add positive emotional weight to the new belief, using curiosity, compassion, and hope to reinforce it. You might even say aloud, "This was my old story, but I'm choosing something new." This external cue helps create distance between you and the default narrative. And over time, that distance becomes your freedom. Look, it's not just about changing your thoughts. It's about rewriting your brain's expectations, repatterning your emotional reflexes, redesigning the framework your mind uses to interpret reality. And like any muscle, the more you work it, the stronger it gets. So take comfort in this. Each small pattern interruption, each conscious redirection, each moment of mindful self-talk, it all adds up. It all matters. And it all rewires the loop. All right, so what does this look like in action? Well, here are several evidence-based tools to help you reprogram the way that you think. Number 1, cognitive reframing. Now, this is rooted in cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, and reframing involves identifying a distorted or unhelpful thought and replacing it with a more realistic or empowering one. So instead of, "I'll never figure this out," you might say, "This is new and learning takes time." Your brain registers the shift and with repetition starts to adopt the new frame as a default. Number 2, mental contrasting, or the WOOP framework. Now, this is from Dr. Gabriel Oettingen's work. This method helps you balance visualization with realism. So you might start with visualizing your wish, the W. Imagine the outcome, the O. Identify the outcome, the second O. And finally, create a plan, the P. There's our WOOP. Now, this approach activates the prefrontal cortex and strengthens motivation while preparing the brain for challenges. Number 3, anchored affirmations. Affirmations work best when paired with emotional states and physical cues. Saying, "I'm confident," while slouched over your desk, it doesn't land. But saying, "I rise to the challenge," while standing tall and breathing deeply and recalling a past success, well, that hits completely differently. Number 4, identity-based journaling. Write as your future self. Use prompts like, "I'm the kind of person who," "Today I showed up with," "When faced with resistance, I choose blank." Right? This rewires your self-image and brings your subconscious into alignment with your goals. Number 5, behavior first, belief follows. Neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman often says, action precedes motivation. But what does that really mean in practice? It means we don't wait for clarity or confidence to act. We generate them through movement. When you initiate behavior aligned with your goals, even in the absence of full belief, your brain begins to adapt. So let's say that you want to build confidence. Instead of waiting to feel confident before taking action, you start by doing things a confident person would do. Things like speaking up in a meeting, making a phone call, signing up for a class. These small, courageous actions send powerful feedback to your nervous system. And that feedback is, this is who I am now. Now, it's also important to track and reflect on these moments. You might keep a belief journal, documenting each time you did something aligned with your desired identity. The more you act like the person you want to become, the more evidence your brain gathers to support the new belief. Now, this tool flips the script from I'll act once I believe it to I'll believe it once I act like it. Over time, behavior reshapes identity, and that reshaped identity reinforces your new beliefs, creating a powerful upward spiral of mindset growth. Number 6, neurobics. Now, neurobics are brain exercises designed to challenge your mind in unexpected ways. Think of things like brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand, or showering with your eyes closed, or using a different route for your daily walk. These small disruptions to your routine stimulate neural activity and encourage the formation of new synaptic connections, priming your brain for change. But here's where it gets even more powerful. Pairing neurobics with affirmations can turbocharge the effect. When your brain is in a heightened state of attention, such as during a novel task, it's more receptive to learning and suggestion. So if you engage in an aerobic exercise while repeating a positive affirmation, you're essentially embedding that new belief into a fresh neural pathway. So for example, as you brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand, repeat, I am rewiring my brain for confidence and clarity. While you're tying your shoes with your eyes closed, say, I'm becoming more adaptable every day. Now, this pairing works because the brain thrives on novelty and attention. The new physical action grabs your brain's focus, and the affirmation slips in alongside it, reinforced by emotion and embodiment. So in short, when your body breaks the pattern, your mind opens to possibility. And number 7, the alter ego effect. Popularized by performance strategist Todd Herman. This technique involves intentionally stepping into a different persona, your alter ego, when you're facing a challenge. Athletes, executives, and performers often use this to bypass limiting beliefs and tap into confidence and clarity that they typically wouldn't have. When you embody this version of yourself, your brain creates new associations with power, confidence, and courage. Two of the most popular examples of the use of the alter ego effect are Beyoncé, who created the persona of Sasha Fierce so that she could overcome her stage fright, and of Kobe Bryant, who adopted the Black Mamba, this killer mentality that allowed him to dominate on the court. When you step into your alter ego, you need to pair it with a ritual, a certain pair of clothing, glasses, something that symbolizes your shift from who you are now to who you're becoming. And let's consider brainwave state shifting. Your brain operates on different frequencies depending on your mental state. Techniques like meditation, binaural beats, and guided hypnosis help shift you into alpha and theta brainwave states. These states are ideal for accessing the subconscious mind and planning new beliefs. These slower frequencies quiet the analytical mind and create a gateway for more suggestive reprogramming. Practices like deep meditation can enhance plasticity by calming the nervous system and priming the brain for change. Integrating these modalities doesn't require hours each day. A few minutes of intentional practice can open the door to profound shifts, especially when paired with the mindset work you're already doing. Now, each of these strategies targets a different layer of your mindset system, from conscious thought to subconscious patterning to behavioral execution. Used together, they create a holistic framework for deep, lasting transformation. Hey, if you're enjoying this episode and you're ready to take your growth to the next level, check out my online course, The Mindset Makeover. It's a step-by-step system to help you identify the beliefs that are holding you back and replace them with the mindsets that you need to thrive. You'll get tools, guided exercises, and a clear path forward, whether you're stuck starting over or just ready to level up. Learn more and enroll now at josejohnson.com/mindset, because real change starts from the inside out. Now, one of the most overlooked aspects of mindset work is the role of the nervous system. If your body is stuck in survival mode, your brain will default to reactive, protective thoughts. No amount of mindset affirmations can override a dysregulated system. Now, this is where tools like breath work, grounding exercises, somatic tracking, this is where they come into play. They calm the nervous system so your brain is free to create new responses instead of clinging to old ones. The more safety you create in your body, the more spaciousness you create in the mind. Now, this is why in my Mindset Makeover course, we pair cognitive strategies with embodied practices, because lasting change lives in both places. So let me give you a few real-life examples of what this might look like. You catch yourself thinking, I'm not ready. You pause, you breathe, and you reframe. I may not feel ready, but I've prepared for this. Or let's say you feel resistance to starting a task. So instead of judging it, you acknowledge it. Then you do just 5 minutes. That action creates momentum. Or let's say you notice a critical voice. Instead of trying to silence it, you respond with curiosity. What's this voice trying to protect me from? Or you feel overwhelmed. You use a simple breathing technique to calm the nervous system, then return to the situation with more clarity. Now, each of these is a rep, a neural vote for a new way of beginning. So here's the big idea. Mindset isn't just a concept. It's a system of patterns in your thoughts, in your body, in your environment, and your habits. The good news, all of those patterns can be changed, but not by accident. They change through awareness, intention, repetition, emotion, and action. That's the formula. That's the roadmap. So here's your challenge for the week. Pick one thought you're ready to rewire. Use one of today's tools, reframing, identity journaling, inflammation intentions, and put it into practice. Not once, repeatedly. You don't need to overhaul your mind overnight. You just need to lay the next neural brick. And if you want to dive deeper into rewiring your mindset step by step, check out The Mindset Makeover, my upcoming book that guides you through 12 essential mindset shifts with real-world stories, science, and practical tools. And it's available now for pre-order. Or if you want to take a deeper dive, think about the Mindset Makeover course. It's a self-paced digital course where you'll assess your current mindset, uncover hidden patterns, and get tools to help you reset and rise. And you can find them both at josejohnson.com/mindset. All right, thanks so much for spending time with me today. If this episode sparked something for you, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a review, share the episode, or message me with your takeaway. Until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, and keep showing up for the life that you're meant to live. And remember, it is what it is, but it becomes what you make it. So make it great. Thanks for tuning in. Before we wrap up, I just want to remind you that the information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional advice or treatment. While the content of this podcast is based on research and personal experience, everyone's situation is unique, and the advice given may not be applicable to all. Always consult a qualified professional before making significant changes in your life. The Personal Mastery and Growth podcast is recorded at the So Good Media Studios, located in the Candy Factory, a co-working space in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.